Egyptian Museum of Turin is one of the oldest and most significant collections of ancient Egyptian archaeology outside of Egypt. A towering pair of statues of the ferocious-looking lion-headed goddess Sekhmet stand at the entrance of the Egyptian Museum of Turin. The imposing statues seem to be both guarding and inviting the visitor to explore the archaeological treasures within. The Egyptian Museum of Turin is one of the oldest collections of ancient Egyptian artifacts in the world. It dates back to the 1750s, when King Emmanuel III instructed and funded the expedition of the famed Italian botanist Vitaliano Donati. The expedition returned from Egypt with 300 artifacts from the Karnak temple complex. The collection grew with additional expeditions over the centuries, and today it contains well over 30,000 artifacts. The collection on display represents all periods and dynasties of Egyptian civilization, from the Neolithic to the pre-dynastic period, from the Old Kingdom to the Middle Kingdom, from the Ptolemaic to Roman rule. Huge galleries are filled with gigantic marble statues and smaller votive statuettes in gold, bronze, and basalt. They depict numerous gods and goddesses of the Egyptian pantheon such as Sekhmet, Ptah, Amun-Ra, Anubis, Horus, Bastet, and Tauret. Here too can be seen sculptures and stelae of the mighty pharaohs such as Horemheb, Ramses, and Seti, and the powerful military and priestly elite class. Just as interesting and impressive, and perhaps even more moving, are the smaller artifacts on display that offer glimpses of the everyday life of ordinary people in ancient Egypt. These include sandals, pottery shards decorated with erotic images, musical instruments, miniature funerary models, dresses, sewing needles, children's toys, and even foods such as bread. One of the major attractions of the museum are undoubtedly the mummified remains on display. They showcase thousands of years of diverse funerary rites practiced by ancient Egyptian civilization. Mummies include examples of the unbandaged dead of pre-dynastic Egypt, preserved as a result of the arid desert environment, the iconic linen-bandaged mummies of the Old Kingdom, and the cartonnage masked mummies of the Middle and New Kingdom periods. It isn't just human mummies that can be seen at the museum though, and here are two or some very curious examples of animal mummies on display, including cats, falcons, bulls, ibis, baboons, crocodiles, and even fish. The museum offers the opportunity to join thematic visits, admire temporary exhibitions, and take part in educational tours and workshops to explore the knowledge preserved here. Several exhibition spaces and tour itineraries with a broad offering in terms of knowledge and experience. Visitors absolutely must see the Silvia Curta Library with its interesting ancient works and collections of immense value.
The first object having an association with Egypt to arrive in Turin was the Mensa Isiaca in 1630, an altar table in imitation of Egyptian style, which Tolo Jones suggests had been created for a temple to Isis in Rome. For this exotic piece spurred King Charles Emmanuel III to commission botanist Vitaliano Donati to travel to Egypt in 1753 and acquire items from its past. Donati returned with 300 pieces recovered from Karnak and Coptos, which became the nucleus of the Turin collection. In 1824, King Charles Felix acquired the material from the Drovati collection, 5,268 pieces, including 100 statues, 170 papyri, stelae, mummies, and other items, that the French general consul, Bernardino Drovati, had built during his stay in Egypt. In the same year, Jean-François Champollion used the huge Turin collection of papyri to test his breakthroughs in deciphering the hieroglyphic writing. The time Champollion spent in Turin studying the texts is also the origin of a legend about the mysterious disappearance of the Papyro dei Re, that was only later found and of which some portions are still unavailable. In 1950, a parapsychologist was contacted to pinpoint them, to no avail. In 1833, the collection of Piedmontese Giuseppe Sasio, over 1,200 pieces, was added to the Egyptian Museum. The collection was complemented and completed by the finds of Egyptologist Ecobedo Schiaparelli, during his excavation campaigns between 1900 and 1920, which further filled out the collection. Its last major acquisition was the small temple of El Isaiah, which the Egyptian government presented to Italy for her assistance during the Nubian monument salvage campaign in the 1960s. Through all these years, the Egyptian collection has always been in Turin, in the building designed for the purpose of housing it, in Via Accademia delle Scienze. Only during the Second World War was some of the material moved to the town of Egli. The museum became an experiment of the Italian government in privatization of the nation's museums when the Fondazione Museo dell'Antichità Egizio was officially established at the end of 2004. The building itself was remodeled in celebration of the 2006 Winter Olympics, with its main rooms redesigned by Dante Ferretti, and featured an imaginative use of lighting and mirrors in a spectacular display of some of the most important and impressive pharaonic statues in the museum collection.